Hi, I'm Heidi Legg with TheEditorial.com. Today we are interviewing Dr. George Church. He's the Robert Winthrop Professor of Genetics at Harvard University. George has the largest lab at Harvard, and I think that says something. George, what is the Personal Genome Project?
Right, yeah, so the Personal Genome Project is the only source in the world that we know of where you can get open access to genes, environments, and traits for human beings. I mean, there's lots of freely accessible information about animals, plants, but for humans this is a unique resource, and it really enables all kinds of studies like being able to share stem cells where you know the genome sequence and you know a lot about the person, and you can test out gene therapies, you can test out drugs, you can test out a lot of ideas in these kind of shared resources.
And who's able to access it, and do they have to pay for it?
So it's free. Anybody in the world can access it. You don't have to prove that you're a researcher. Sometimes there's a fine line between a researcher and a student and somebody that just happens to have a computer. It's very hard to judge who's going to make fundamental. In fact, some of the most out-of-the-box thinkers are the least credentialed people on the planet. They've been rejected in one way or another, but they still have a lot to offer to society. Yeah.
There seems to be a tension and a conflict between raw data and findings. Why is that? And can you explain that to all of us?
I think this is contentious and discussed. I think it may look like a tempest in teapot when we look at it back from the future. The raw data is kind of like if I give you my blood, or if I fill out a form where I fill in, what I think all my diseases are. That's raw data, and I gave it to you, and now you should be able to process and give it back to me. In other words, you should say, this is what I have in my files, is it still correct? And I can look at it and say, yes, it's still correct. Or you can process it even more and interpret it slightly and give it back to me. Does these interpretations ring any bells? And I can say, well, now it's getting a little technical. Can I get a second opinion, right? Or, hey, it's starting to sound like this could impact my health. Can I get a second opinion? Because you just want to do a research on it, but since we're sharing here my data, why don't you allow me to get a second opinion? So that's why I think people should have access to both the raw data, some of which comes from them, and the interpreted data so that they can check it for errors, check it for things that don't make sense, and possibly check it with other experts to keep the whole system more honest and possibly benefit.